Hey guys, this is Sean from Momentum, and I have a special guest from Fat Burners Only, owner, and it is Paul.
Hi, how you going?
Very good. Thank you for everyone else out there. We did ask you if you had questions about supplements, and we're actually going to go through some of them today. But first of all, before we start, real quickly, what got you into supplements, and how did you create Fat Burners Only, and why?
So I got into supplements because I loved what they did for me at the start. So I was trying to put on some weight, and I put on weight, but it wasn't until I introduced supplements like protein, glutamine and creatine that I got an amazing recovery, started putting on size, some serious strength. People were making comments, and ever since that started with supplements, I fell in love with them. So I genuinely am passionate about supplements. You know, some people are passionate about physiotherapy or swimming pools or anything. I love supplements. And so I had a really great guy that I used to see that used to give me the best advice. He wasn't there one day. I saw a guy behind the counter who was clearly the state champion bodybuilder, asked him for advice. Didn't even get up off his chair, didn't stop looking at his phone, walked over to a bucket of Muscle Juice 2544 6 kilo cookies and cream in 2009, kicked it and said, "Take this, mate." And then I looked at him and he sort of shrugged his shoulders like, "What else do you want from me?" And then just kept back going on his phone. I thought, I'm a guy that was also buying for, my twin brother, Nick. I'd drop $1,000 a time when I went supplements. So I'd have to make 2 trips. And this was the service that I was getting. And I thought, if someone was as passionate about me, about supplements, loved the results they were getting, and were getting treated like this, I would never want them to feel that way. I thought, I've never owned a store before. I've never sold supplements before, but I'm so passionate. I'm going to give it a go so people can get a good customer service response / someone that cared for them and their results, and not treated like unimportant.
It was kind of like what the culture was almost like back then in terms of the gym. It was like humans got staunched for trying, and like, this is the place I'm trying to learn and try. Why are you staunching me?
Exactly how I felt. That exactly how I felt at the time. So I at the time was lecturing at uni. I was also working in property valuation, a really great, stable, high-paying job. I gave it all away. Everyone said I was mad to start my own health food store. That I took over a store in Bull Creek that was losing thousands of dollars a week. But within 6 months, we tripled the store. We were profitable. I opened 3 stores. I found I could keep 2 really high quality. But when I introduced the 3rd, I couldn't maintain that quality because I wanted to get to 100 shops. And then I got to that 3rd store and realized it wasn't about quantity for me anymore. I wanted to maintain that quality. So like I said, the guy that I was at the start, getting that bad service, no one would ever feel like that in my store. And I felt like I couldn't maintain that with multiples, with 50 stores. So I ended up sticking with 3 and then starting an online store, and with the view to make that online store feel like a really caring and face-to-face, approachable business, which is very hard to do online because they go online, they buy the product, you send it, you don't speak to them. So we do everything we can to make the customer feel special, cared for, follow-up customer service, cheapest prices, express shipping, everything.
One thing I have to actually interrupt you on is every single time I order something from you guys, no matter how many times you know my name, I always get a letter going, "Welcome to Fat Burners Only." And that just makes me feel great. So thank you so much for that too.
It takes a lot of time and it's actual pen. People tell me that they get this note and they hold it up to the light. Is that just a stamp? No, it's someone's written on there, and there's a real person that really cares about your order. And I'm glad you felt that. That's the goal.
Well, you need to know that.
Well,
awesome. The reason for today's podcast was actually for people to understand about supplements more. And we wanted to just kind of discuss what are some supplements that you would recommend for a beginner person who wanted to lose weight. Yeah, because you can't rely everything on supplements despite how passionate you might be, right?
That's 100% true. So, I'll always say the most important thing for losing weight is water diet. That's number 1. Number 2 is exercise. Number 3 is dialing in the right supplements. Can make a big difference if you've got everything else and all your ducks in a row. So, if you're eating McDonald's 6 times a day and your calories are way more intake than you are expending, No supplement's going to do anything for you.
The stuff is not magic.
It can do amazing things if you know how to do it right, but you can't outrun a bad diet.
Yeah.
So at least get some semblance of a good diet together. But the right supplements will be what I found over the years is a fat burner with some carnitine and CLA if you're looking to lose body fat. So a fat burner like OxyShred, you'll take it, you feel energy. It's burning calories, but it's not necessarily coming from fat.
Yeah.
Carnitine is made up of methionine and lysine. These amino acids bond together and will form carnitine, which grabs fat in the bloodstream, which is called a free-form fatty acid. And once that fat is attached to carnitine, that is now allowed to enter the mitochondria to be used as fuel. We don't really burn fat any other way.
There we are. If you guys need more biochem, well, this is your man.
I love this stuff so much. And so you need carnitine in the blood to burn fat. So when you're taking a fat burner, OxyShred, hydroxycut, when you're on a calorie deficit, if you can get carnitine in, you're targeting fat as fuel and you're stopping muscle wastage.
Perfect.
And then just a bit of a trick question. If I asked you, where does everyone want to lose body fat? It's always the same.
It's always the tummy, right?
It's always the tummy, and females it's tummy and thighs. It's very hard to move that fat. You know, you can't do sit-ups and burn body fat. Doesn't work like that. Or belly fat, sorry. But you can do it two ways. You can get rid of it two ways. The first way is liposuction.
Yeah.
Get in there and suck it out. The other way is enzymes. So CLA is an all-natural product derived from the safflower plant that creates an enzyme which breaks up abdominal fat and abdominal and thigh fat on females.
Yeah.
So the body can't do that by itself. So this fat will actually create an enzyme that breaks that fat down, and then the carnitine binds to it, and then a calorie deficit in your fat burner will burn it. So to burn body fat, take a fat burner with carnitine and CLA, drink enough water, and you would be amazed at how effective that regime is.
So the first supplement you're saying is something like a fat burner like OxyShred?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Amazing. How about I have another person I've got asking is someone who was struggling with protein intake. Now, in case you guys missed that, we just did a sample of some protein bars. So that's definitely one of my favorite suggestions, to get a protein bar. But you've got a lot of powders out there.
Yeah.
What type of protein powders would you recommend for a person who's struggling to get protein, first of all?
So these days, they're all very nice tasting. They've come a long way than the old paint tins 20 years ago that were pretty hard to down. But it really depends on your dietary preferences, whether you're vegan, whether you're vegetarian, if you have any allergies. But there's really three sources of protein. So you can get whey protein. So that's milk derived. Very bioavailable, very creamy, very delicious these days.
Yep.
If you are allergic to dairy and perhaps you're vegan, you can go vegetarian or vegan protein, derived usually from rice and peas.
Yep.
You can get some more exotic vegan sources now, like watermelon seed protein and pumpkin seeds and all this sort of stuff, which is really funky. And then finally, you can go collagen protein.
Yep.
So that is typically either marine derived or beef derived in the larger serves. Doesn't taste anything like those anymore. It's just the same as the other proteins.
Back in the day, there was a collagen supplement, and it was beef based.
Yes, was it Carnivore by Muscle Meds?
Couldn't tell you what it was.
Yeah, okay.
I had it in my tea, my coffee, and it clumped up, and I was like, all I can taste is beef.
So you can actually taste beef.
I think it was in my head. I'm not sure. So ever since that day, I'm like, okay, I'm going to go only for marine.
Sure.
But then I was just like, what if I taste shrimp?
Yeah, right.
Sure.
Well, now they don't taste like that anymore, and they can typically be flavored with, your chocolates and vanillas and stuff. So you'll just get a vanilla collagen, and it just tastes like a delicious vanilla shake. We here at Fat Burners, we love collagen because there's no allergies to the stomach, whereas whey and even vegan pea protein, rice protein can cause allergens. It's very alkalizing, and it elicits a response of the best muscle recovery and fat loss through a peptide response, not through an amino acid response. So we can get quite complicated. And it's also ethical because they're not killing cows to make this stuff.
Yeah.
The cows are already being used for steak and all that, and then this is a byproduct that would usually be thrown out.
So repurposing, really.
They're repurposing it, so no extra animal is dying for this product. But yeah, we like the response of collagen on the body, but you've got your different versions. Yeah.
This is actually a question that might be appropriate to ask now. So one of my clients, Karen, has asked, I'm always curious about subs designed for intolerances. i.e. is there a best lactose-free protein supplement? Should we bother if whey ones aren't particularly high in lactose? And also the second part to that question was, do plant-derived supplements work better than the chemically or non-vegan ones?
Okay, so there really isn't a chemically protein. So we can sort of get rid of that. The collagen's derived from beef, whey is derived from milk. And it's not chemically derived. It's milk that's had filtration processes to remove carbs and fats, just to leave the protein. That's all. So they're not chemically deriving it. And same with a vegan source. It's naturally derived from rice and pea. The purpose-built ones for, say, someone that's lactose intolerant definitely can go for a vegan protein or a collagen protein if you don't mind the taste and the textures. But what she said, going for a lactose-free whey, exactly right. So lactose is a milk sugar. If you can find a whey protein that has 2 grams or less sugar, it means it's got 2 grams or less lactose.
Okay.
And 2 grams is that typical lactose threshold where you'll get an allergen response. So you can get under 2 grams. Typically, you won't get the allergen response.
You typically need to know a little bit more about your own lactose intolerances as well.
Yes, well, if you're severely intolerant to it, maybe you have to avoid whey altogether. But you can find whey proteins that have been ultra-filtered, not chemically altered, but ultra-filtered, that have like 0.3 grams of sugar.
That'll be like your gold standard whey.
In their isolate.
Isolate.
Yes, in their gold one. The gold label, that'll be ultra low sugar. The gold standard whey will still have maybe 2 to 3 grams of lactose or of sugar. So you can go those ultra low sugar ones, and then you can still avoid the lactose even if you are lactose intolerant. And then they'll also put enzymes that will break lactose up in the blood or in the stomach. So your lactase, etc., in the protein, that will cause the digestion of the lactose in the stomach, and you won't get the lactose response. So there, you can go all three. You just need to know what to look for. Yeah.
I guess one of the things I have to ask right now is, what's the difference between, say, a cheaper, say, protein you got off the shelf at Chemist Warehouse versus the ones that you'll get here? Because I have a bit of a story. It's a bit embarrassing. Back when I was first started off, I just bought any cheap whey protein from Chemist Warehouse.
Chemical warehouse.
And my friend and I had it just first thing in the morning, empty stomach. And this actually put me on protein for a while. And then for some reason, my friend just poked me in the stomach. I'm not going to lie. I felt like I was going to let go. It wasn't great.
Really? Yeah, sure.
So I've stayed away from that brand for the last 10 or 15 years because of that one incident.
Sure.
What's the differences between these cheaper ones versus, say, a higher quality one?
Well, you'll find that there might only be 3 grams of carbs or 3 grams of fat in a cheaper one more than a more expensive one. But the process of filtration is quite expensive when you're running these cross-flow micro pipes and running it through and removing. And therefore, it might make the protein twice as expensive. But it can cause the difference between what you felt and having no negatives whatsoever and still having the same whey protein. It's just being more filtered and it's more pure. Also, you have to look at location of manufacture. So in New Zealand whey, so Fonterra, for example, amazing quality. So, your proteins like True Protein and these great Australian brands can have this really great New Zealand whey based. So also the quality of location. So when you find these really cheap ones in a pharmacy, they will typically have lots of lactose, perhaps lots of milk fats, which it's not always lactose that causes a milk allergy. It can be the milk fats or other solids in milks that these cheaper ones haven't removed. They will also have larger peptide structures, which means that it's harder for the digestion to actually break down that protein. They're bigger strands. It's taking longer to digest. It's sitting there for longer, perhaps causing allergens and gut issues or gas or irritation.
The real protein farts.
That's right. So the difference between a quality whey and a cheaper non-quality whey, even though on the macros and the label might not look like a lot, can actually be a big difference and make a big difference to the way you feel and your results.
So it all depends on how much are you willing to tolerate and who's going to poke your stomach.
If you've got mates that'll poke your stomach. But if you're unsure, ask an expert because they should ask you the right questions to be able to find okay, you are suited to a cheap one.
Yeah.
Or no, we need to get you this one.
I've just always found with Whey Proteins, I've always stuck with the same one, and that's gold standard Optimum Nutrition for the last, since I was 18, so 13 years now.
Wow.
I've never found, I'm such a loyal brand person, it's crazy.
Sure.
And I was like, you should try this. I was like, no, I'm good. I just don't want to know what's going to happen afterwards.
Well, that experience that you had at the start, you're like, we don't want to do that again. This isn't causing it.
I have not touched that brand ever since. I was very, very brave earlier this year by buying their protein bar. And I was like, you know what? I probably can't do it again. I just don't want to risk it.
You're being very nice not mentioning the brand.
I'm
pretty sure I know which brand it is.
So last question, I guess, is how overall to shed weight and build muscle, how does it work with the caloric goal given by your coach? Now, that can be a bit of a loaded question, but I guess how would you summarize this one?
Well, first of all, we need to establish that you actually can do both. So a lot of coaches will say you can either put on muscle or burn fat. We've got an in-body scanner machine in here, which it's not 100%, but it's quite accurate. And at the right training, we can see people gaining muscle and losing fat at the same time. So it is possible. So we'll just put that out there. The best supplement regime is to go on a protein after training with an amino acid called glutamine. Have you heard of it before?
I heard of it. I don't actually know. So I'm going to ask you.
Sure. Well, glutamine's my favorite supplement in the world. So it's the most abundant amino acid in the body, and it's responsible for repairing tears in muscle, like hypertrophy tears. So if you've gone to the gym or you've hit the footy field really hard and you've got muscle pain the next day, you've got little micro tears, glutamine is what's responsible for layering protein over the top and causing recovery. So if you do it one time, you'll cause recovery that time. But if you do it time and time again, you can grow more muscle.
Wow.
Recovery is muscle growth. So glutamine is my favorite amino acid for that, not to mention that it also regenerates gut lining and builds your immune system. And then the introduction of, the most popular supplement in the world right now, creatine.
Yeah.
So creatine, people think it puts on water weight. That's a byproduct. It's adenosine triphosphate.
Yeah.
It fills the muscles full of that molecule, which allows for heavy to medium muscle contractions, leading to higher and better performance in the gym, leading to more adaptation, which if you have adaptation in the presence of a good quality protein and glutamine will cause better recovery, which will lead to more muscle growth.
Yeah.
And if you can balance, like you said, the calorie intake, so you're not too low, but you're not too high, you can actually put on muscle, and the body can start saying, well, I need to put on muscle, but I need I need calories for energy, and start mobilizing fat to use as fuel. And you can start widening that gap. You can burn fat and put on muscle.
There we are. Well, I don't have any more questions. I've learnt a lot today.
Oh, glad. I like to gas bag a bit. I hope it wasn't too much.
No, go for it. One thing you cannot hide is how passionate you are about supplements. Like the way that I'm looking at you, I'm like, I have no idea what you're saying. I'm going to listen to this podcast again and relearn it. It's probably the same as what people look at me when I'm talking about training.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
so you just can't hide passion. And that's one of the biggest things why I've always wanted to work with you guys as close as I can. And now I have the time to.
Excellent. Yeah, that's exciting.
So if you guys want to follow more about fat burners only and supplements as well, you can head on to their website. And one of the biggest things I like about your website is there's a chat function. During work hours, I say, guys, just go into that website and just click on that chat function and chat with a real person. And that's true, right? It's a real person behind that.
I don't know if we can edit this, but we used to have that. We don't have it anymore.
Oh, no, I'm so sorry. That was such a great function.
It was a great function back in the day.
Yeah. But it is one of those things where you give so much care. I can probably guarantee you guys on this side, awkward moment, is that if they email you guys, you would also have some sort of resources.
We do always have real people here. To be transparent, we found the chat function put too much strain on the website was halting performance, and so people were complaining more that the performance was being halted than the gains they were getting. So if they call the store, there's always 4 real people here. Email, there's real people here. We're not outsourced overseas, and we do it all in-house with people that know what they're doing. So we pride ourselves on our service.
Awesome.
And our knowledge.
Thank you so much. I know you're a busy guy and you have to get somewhere, so thank you for your time.
Appreciate it. Yeah, no worries.
And if you have any questions, anybody, just put them in the comments section below, and we'll see what we can do to help you out. If you're listening on our podcast, feel free to send me an email, and we can see what we can do to help you out as well. Take care, everybody, and keep building momentum.
Cheers, guys.